the immense, dangerous, mysterious force known by the name of Jesse James was now revealed, though cold and still. So many questions would now go unanswered, so many events unexplained. But the mysteries that lay undiscovered at the feet of that newspaper man and the surrounding crowd were not all the same as those hidden from us now. We want to know, as they did, the demons that danced in his head. We want to know the details of his loves and hates, his daily life and epic crimes. But as we stand on this side of the historical canyon, we must strain our eyes to glimpse what those people in St. Joseph saw so clearly: the public impact, the overarching significance of his outlaw career. A single fact illustrates the problem. From the end of the Civil War to the hour of James's death, the governors of Missouri proclaimed rewards for the capture of criminals more than 300 times. Perhaps 4 of these proclamations touched on Jesse and his brother Frank. Those hundreds of other outlaws, along with hundreds more who failed to attract gubernatorial attention, committed murders, broke out of jails, robbed stages, banks, and trains, even killed a U.S. Marshal and burned a county courthouse. But every one has been forgotten, except for the James brothers and their Confederates. The obvious question is, why? Why should one set of criminals be so much more memorable than another? Every attempt to understand Jesse James has stumbled on this question, because the real key to explaining him is to explain the world he lived in. The life and times is the classic formulation of the biography, of course, appearing in many a subtitle, but rarely has the interconnection of subject and context been so critical as in this particular case. James lived underground from the age of 16, scrupulously avoiding scrutiny, yet his half-hidden life was rife with symbolism. He became an emblem of conflicts that were as real and raw to his contemporaries as a bad burn. He made old wounds ache again. He reminded the public of precisely where the blows had fallen, where the social fabric had been torn. He not only represented forces larger than himself, he made them concrete, understandable, undeniable. But what forces? What conflicts? What wounds? Almost all examinations of this famous outlaw by serious historians have been in studies devoted to particular topics: industrialization, the Civil War, the phenomenon of banditry around the globe, leaving us with an incomplete picture at best. The antiquarian research of the large and dedicated fraternity of Jesse James admirers has turned up many details on the man, his family, and his crimes, but has left the all-important context unaddressed. The one truly scholarly biography, the landmark Jesse James Was His Name by the late William A. Settle, Jr., inevitably suffers from age. A great deal of historical research has come to light in the more than 30 years since that book's publication. But it also stumbles on a critical point where our subject and his context meet. To what extent was Jesse James a participant in his rise to legend, in his symbolic role in the public eye? In these pages, answers will be given to all these questions. Here, the greatness of his image is seen to emerge from the greatness of the issues that flowed through his life. Some of the central questions and conflicts in American history defined his existence: the fight over slavery and abolitionism, the great catastrophe of the Civil War, the revolution of freedom represented by emancipation and reconstruction, the spread of railroads and industrialization, and the first signs of a corporate economy. The social and political fire fueled by all these things burned at a white heat in Jesse James's homeland of western Missouri, a border state tucked into the Midwest, sharing traits of the industrial Northeast, the family farm Northwest, and the slave-driving South. Here, every political issue was personal, every conflict real and concrete, every dispute bitter. Would slavery spread? Would the slave states secede? Would emancipation mean equality for African Americans? Would the South be revolutionized into the model of the North? The James family debated such questions long before Jesse was born, and he threw himself into the storm over them at the tender age of 16, when he joined the gangs of Confederate guerrillas that battled Union forces in Missouri. With the coming of peace,